So yes, thank you all for coming. Thank you for joining us live. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to kind of come along to these webinars. Hopefully you'll get some benefit as well. I'm sure you will. This meeting, as mentioned, is being recorded for our YouTube channel. So please share with your colleagues if this content would be useful for them. A little bit about me. My name's Alex. I'm the customer success consultant here at Prospect. My job is to assist customers ensuring they're getting the most out of Prospect through the various kind of communication channels we have. So I manage customer feedback here at Prospect, as well as doing kind of customer reviews, CRM reviews, and team meetings and such, just to kind of help with queries and seeing how we can best deploy Prospect and its functionality. It's given me a great opportunity to get to know our user base, understand their methods, their practices, and ultimately get some great ideas to enhance our product further as well. So I've got a couple of slides to get us started, and then we'll go into a demo on how we kind of manage, store communications, and send out and receive that correspondence as well. So I'm going to get rid of my face as well, just so I'm not taking up a corner of the screen that we will probably end up using. So I'm going to get rid of that now. Okay, so a few slides to get us started. There is functionality to ask any questions. So if you do have any questions, feel free to pass them my way and we'll go through them together at the end. I can already see one sort of popped up already, which is really good. So yeah, we'll answer some questions at the end. So we're going to go through then how Prospect stores your customer details, making sure that the data is really accessible, easy to store for all of your users to see, amend and obviously use as well. We're going to look at sending emails directly from the CRM, as well as saving emails back into Prospect, as well as documents and attachments, images and such like that as well. We're going to have a look at your user activity. This is kind of an internal piece of information, internal functionality for easy viewing, maintaining historic view of correspondence between you and a customer, or just notes between you and colleagues as well, which kind of leads us to communicating internally and how best to pass around information between you and your colleagues through the CRM to make sure there is records of bits and pieces we've been speaking about. So we're going to go into our demo then. So we have this company here. This is a CRM system. It's up to date. It's just fictional. So this is a company called That's My Jam. It sells jam jars and flavored jams and jellies, B2B from a big warehouse somewhere. It's very much our kind of typical customer that would buy our product. So just to kind of set the stage a little bit, it's not overly relevant, but it's always nice to know. So I'm going to start at the company level then, and we'll come back to the dashboard in a bit because there is a few bits on here I want to show you. But we're going to start with kind of where we're storing that information. So as most of you probably know by now, you can add companies straight into Prospect using our B2 business contacts here, and you will end up with a company and a contact. So the company allows you to store the following information. So we can obviously get the company name. We have telephone numbers, a website, which is actually a hyperlink as well. So you can click on that little logo to the right, open up the website, in this case, the Prospect website. You get a bit of a summary if you wanted to jot down some notes and bits and pieces about the customer that are kind of important for people to know. And then we also have on the left-hand side some additional information here, so specifically the address as well. So we have a postcode lookup in Prospect, so adding an address in here. You can search by the postcode, copy that one there. And it returns you a list of addresses you can go and save. All these lines are then populated based on the postcode search. We also store delivery addresses that have been used for shipping as well. Primary address is then stored on the right-hand side as a mini map, and you can view on a larger map, which will take you to Google Maps and give you that kind of little pin there of the address that you can use. So that's kind of the really simple business level information. A lot more correspondence is then stored at the company level underneath, contact level underneath. So if I go to a contact, again, we can add some more contacts from this record. I'm going to use an existing one today. And what we have here is a contact record then for adding your contact names. You can add salutation if needed and preferred names, a primary email address, which is important. I'll come back to that in just a second, as well as a main mobile number, main phone number, and a mobile number as well. So on the left-hand side, we have addresses. This, obviously, you can see here we've got the company address, but you can add another address should this person be maybe a third-party consultant who has his own office or working from home. You can get a separate address for them and kind of use that instead. And then down here on the left-hand side, we have communication. So this is for storing additional information. So we have the primary details up here. This is your email and phone numbers you can find on the details page here. You also get to subscribe into email marketing and physical mail as well. But mainly email marketing is this subscribed here. This integrates with some of our email marketing software like Spotlers and also MailChimps as well. We have additional phone numbers, additional email addresses, and even social links if you wanted to link their LinkedIn and Facebooks and such like that, if they have company Facebooks maybe. We can add an additional number in then. So if I go and add a new telephone number here, we'll say it's mobile 2. You can add in a number, random number there. You can use a type. This is a configurable list if needed. Don't have to fill that out by any means. And hit create there. So we've got some additional numbers there. If you go back to the details here and click on the little arrow next to the phone, you can see a list of numbers which you've added in the communication section as well. This is probably a good opportunity to mention the click to calling. So for any of the customers on the line tonight that have kind of VoIP phones, they're called, or internet phones, voice over internet phones, whichever you prefer terminology you have. If you click a number, we send out what's called a tel link, and it can be picked up by internet phones. So this is the phone we use in-house. By clicking on one of those numbers, it sends that phone number to our phone system, and you can call straight from here. So in addition to phoning, a lot of your correspondence is going to be via email. Emails can be sent obviously from Outlook and stuff like that, but we have our own sender with built into Prospect, which is easy accessible on the right-hand side by clicking on this email address. So we have the email here. You can click into this and add some additional email addresses, or use the CC and BCC feature as well to tag some people in. We then have subjects, some templates as well, if you have them configured. We actually have a webinar coming up on some document templates soon, as well as a signature as well. You can add attachments by dragging attachments in from your files, or on the right-hand side, you have an Add Attachments button. This allows you to browse your PC in your File Explorer for documents and images and such. You can attach existing documents that have been made, which is PDF, Word documents, emails. Create a document from here using your templates, or even attach from the library function that we have within Prospect as well. Once you've added your attachments, you have two little toggles here. One to save a copy of this document, which I would advise you doing. It's great for historic purposes. And then send a copy to yourself as well if you just wanted to check that email has been sent out to your customer. So we're going to send this email. That's my email address up there anyway. So we're going to send out this email, and then I can show you the Save to CRM functionality as well. So if I go into to my inbox, I should say, that's the email I've just had come through. We have an add-on that can be used for Gmail and Outlook, both in the desktop and the web, called Save to CRM. Save to CRM is accessible up here in the right-hand corner of my desktop Outlook. It's already logged in, but you would just log in with it's not logged in anymore, was earlier. So I'll get logged in just using your CRM details. Go on to the profile that I'm in. And then it comes up with some suggestions based on if you were kind of last in a record, and you can also go and find records as well by searching for an ID or description. So that's the record I need. I'm going to hit save there. Okay. I'll go back here, give it a refresh, and a few seconds ago in our activity, we have the new document that we've just saved, or email in this case. On the left-hand side, you also have documents. This gives you an overview on any documents and correspondence you've had saved in both via Save to CRM, or if you have dragged or uploaded a document as well. So they get given an ID, description based on the file name or email kind of subject, where they've come from, who uploaded them, and how long ago. You can also add in, as mentioned, you've got templates, uploading files, but you can also use links as well. So this could be a link to a file if you use kind of cloud storage systems like Amazon S3 or SharePoint or something like that. It could even be a web link, and whatever works for you guys in terms of storing that information the best. So that's Save to CRM. Kind of a quick demo of that. Got some functionality coming out all the time for that feature as well. So just going to have a look now at the activity note. So this is an internal location for storing notes, storing documents, emails, etc., like that. Everything is kind of fed into this. Most records have an activity as well. So we're at contact level at the moment. We have an activity here. If we were to go to an opportunity, and we'll make an opportunity, make a new business pipeline. So this is our opportunity we've just thrown together. We have an activity in here as well. And we can just make a quick note. This then gets consolidated together, which I can show you in a moment. So we're going to go back up to our contact then, into the details here, another refresh. So the activity itself, it's got loads of functionality in terms of formatting various different kind of information. We've got the classic kind of bold and underlined. You can change fonts and text sizes, colors, add bullet points and number points. Insert links as a hyperlink. Insert YouTube videos into here as well. You can insert images or copy and paste them. And lastly, you have, for the more tech savvy, HTML editor as well. That's beyond me personally, but if you are quite tech savvy, then you can add HTML into these as well. For images, you can also, as mentioned, just copy and paste items in as well. Once they're pasted in, you can click on them and actually expand them into a full screen kind of view as well. So you can also set a task from here. So from the activity, you can say call in 3 days. And instead of clicking post, which would add it to the activity as well, you can actually assign a task. And you can assign a task for a couple of days' time on a Wednesday at a specific time if needed, but whichever user you need. And then we've got a follow-up date there for 7 days' time. I clicked on the wrong date, clearly, but I've got a follow-up for a couple of days' time to go and speak to this customer again. So there is also a communication type on here. We will cover this in a little bit more detail in a moment, because I would like to show where this links to. But just to give you a brief kind of overview on what this is a configurable list of active and inactive engagements. So what we mean by that is an active engagement is when a customer has been spoken to. So I'd say incoming call and made contact and customer meeting would be an active engagement, where maybe failed to contact and left message would be inactive. It's really important for reporting, and I'll show you why in a moment. So we also have the ability to mark notes as important. So if this screenshot here was really important, there's this little icon on the right-hand side to click. You can then filter these notes. You can filter them down by notes set over a certain period. You can use tags as well if you have added any tags in, which I'll cover in a second. Certain types of activities, so from certain types of users, but I just want to see the important notes. So that filters down, and I can now only see that screenshot as well as any other important note if I just wanted to see what is the key information here that I'm trying to obtain. So as well as the important note, I'm going to just switch that back there for a second. You can also pin notes as well. So if there is something in here that's really important and you would like to kind of make it really obvious and stand out from the rest of the notes you have, there's this little pin icon here. This sends this straight to the top or bottom, depending on which order you have this activity note. In orange, so it really stands out, and it will appear there straight away when you click on this record. It will still be down here in order, but it will also be prominently at the top. Another feature this adds, the activity actually provides for you, is the ability to tag users. This is a relatively new piece of functionality. From within here, if you use the @ symbol, you bring up a list of your users. So you can click on 1 or 2 users, type out a note, and actually post that to your colleagues. What this does is actually sends those colleagues an email. They get an email linking them to this record. They can open that link, appear in this record for Alex Calderbank, and go and obviously respond to your message or kind of act based on what they need to be doing. They can even obviously then tag you back, and you can have a conversation in the activity here, ensuring all of your correspondence is sort of looked after and staying on this record and accessible for future use. There's also an option to share the entire record. So this is kind of very specific, having conversation with colleagues. There's also a share record, which allows for a more general share. So you can add, again, a couple of users into here, type a message and hit share. That again sends them a record or an email similarly to the mention, but it just sends them the entire kind of record and something they can have a look at. One of the other options I'd like to show is the urgent note functionality. Oh, I forgot about the tags. So yes, you can also tag these notes. Tag 1, 2, 3, show what this does. So when you add a tag, it just appears down there. So if you can set up a certain kind of format for your users, or if you just wanted key information, you can tag like that. There's a few options and a few user cases for it. But again, if you add a tag for your notes, you can then filter and say, I only want to see tags where they have been tagged with this specific tag. And that returns the list. So it's all about just filtering the activity to get the information you need, especially if it's a larger project or like this is a contact. This could be, years worth of notes by the time you've built this rapport with the customer. And it's kind of really useful to start breaking down that data into a kind of a useful group. So the urgent notes I mentioned a second ago is actually something that's set at the company level. So we're on a contact here. We're going to go back up one level to the company. The company then has its own activity, similar to all the functionality I've just shown, but you'll notice a small arrow down here on the right-hand side where you get to mark as urgent. So if I put a note on here, which can be anything you like, I'm going to put Alex as a key contact and post this as urgent. You then get faced with an expiry date. So an expiry date is just when this note will disappear from being urgent and it will no longer appear at the top of the screen. So I'm going to set that for 6th December, hit post. That goes red in here, but more importantly, when you give it a refresh, you now have this big red banner for an urgent message saying I'm the key contact here. So for any really important information, this is the first thing you'll see when you click onto this company. Not only the company though, as you click down through the records again, if you go back to the contact, it appears on the contact level. And then earlier on, we made that opportunity. It also appears here as well. So it's every record down from the company. So it's something really important. There's also the tagging functionality. This again is kind of more for the internal usage of our system. Available again at most levels, such as the company, contacts, and all the way down. You can actually add tags. What we can do is make a little tag here for, say, premium customer. Premium customer, you get to set a little color, press save. And you can say that this customer is a premium customer. You can configure this and add as many as you like, and well, within reason. Add a load of tags onto this. That then appears at the very top and is a filterable option as well. So if you start building reports or looking at your customers, you can see based on the tags you've added, I only want to see premium customers. You can use this tagging feature for that. Or, this, like I said, it could be anything you can imagine, really, just putting these tags in. So moving back to our PowerPoint, we've covered quite a lot of the kind of more essential aspects of how we store information and how we use that information to contact our customers through emails and phone calls and such like that, as well as recording that information, which I'll show you a little bit more on in a second. So just back to our PowerPoint for 1 second. So through this then, so we also allow for reporting on these recent communications. We have some dashboard reports. We have some admin level reports, as well as some kind of personal user reports to see what users have been up to on a daily basis, or weekly, or whichever suits you. We also have some fantastic links to our email marketing integrations as well. So there is a webinar coming up soon, specifically looking at MailChimp this time around, but we have done Spotler in the past as well. I'm really trying to leverage this integration here and what we've got and what the information we have stored at contact level, linking in with sales history and such like that to really bring in core information to MailChimp to then email those customers as well. So yeah, webinar coming up on that. So keep an eye out and we'll happily answer any questions you've got after the webinars have been done or anytime, feel free to get in touch. So I just want to go back and show you this dashboard then. So just going to open up tab here. So this is our account manager dashboard. So this is largely around communicating with your customers and really kind of getting to know your customers as well. So most of you are hopefully familiar with the RFM functionality. This links into a lot of sales history and how they're, if they're hibernating, then they're not necessarily purchasing from you regularly, where your champion customers are really, really good buyers there and hopefully contacting you quite a lot to do business with you guys. Specifically, the tile we're looking at here is the needs engagement report. So I'm just going to open that up while I just go over to our contact and I'll show you how these link together. So the needs engagement reports, if you remember from the activity note drop down, some of the activity notes you will place in the system will be classed as active engagements. If a customer haven't had an active engagement for a while, in this case 30 days, they will appear in this list. So an active engagement, as we mentioned over here, is just this configurable list. So if you have made contact with the customer today, they will not appear in this list. If you haven't for 30 days, here's a list of those people. So this gives you a fantastic kind of standard report that you can have for easy accessing that list of accounts that might need a bit more nurturing, offer that next level kind of customer service and account management service to your customers, and ensuring that obviously you're getting the best rapport you can with these customers. Repetition of sales and business is really important in kind of the wholesale industry. So having this access and seeing these customers is really beneficial. So just wanted to show you some of the reports we've got kind of outside the dashboard as well. For any of those kind of users who are non-admin, in the little icon in the top right, that might be a picture of yourself or some initials. You actually have a My Profile section here. And then in here, you actually have an activity. This allows you to see any comments you've made, any notes you've posted on various records. You can filter this down and see kind of, again, over certain days or where you've set certain tags and such like that. You also then get at the bottom here a recently accessed record kind of list as well. So anything you've been on recently, you get that kind of access there. Perhaps more importantly, there is a managerial version of this report. So anyone with admin users will have the users, it's in preview at the moment because it's a relatively new piece of functionality, or at least a new location for the functionality. But within users here, you get this list of users, both licensed and non-licensed to begin with. And we can filter this down to only show the licensed users. This is where we're hoping customers will start to come when it comes to setting setting users up, setting permissions for those users, and doing your general user management. So the users is how our billing is structured, so it is entirely in the customer's hands to maintain that billing. I'm not sure why this isn't loading. Please bear with me. What this does, I don't have to show you it. It's a list of users, and then similarly to the report up here, you get to click on any user you like, and then you can come in here and see the permissions and activities for that user. So me as prospect of support could be going and seeing my colleague Louise, who is underneath me in the management hierarchy. I can go and see what activities they've been doing and how they've been spending their time, and identify anywhere where they may be spending too much time if there's something that they can be focusing on to be more productive. I will come back to this if it does load. Oh, there we go, typical. So yes, here's the list. Going into any user, you can show their details. This is where the permissions are set, and you can manage their settings here and go and have a look at the activity and such, like so. So they're the standard reports. Obviously, we do have kind of custom reports you can build as well. Like with anything in Prospect, we have a report builder, which allows you to go and choose those entities and make some new reports. So the activity note, for example, activity note there, you can build a report similarly to the one on the dashboard, which shows you which users posted what text, the link to it, and when they posted it. Really simple report, just thrown together in 10 seconds, and then start filtering down and saying, I want to see where the reports or where the notes have been posted in the last day. I want to group it by the users and kind of get really clever with it and get maybe a bit of an overview on your user activity for the day. Yes, something like that. There's obviously plenty of options there as to what you're able to do. You have some real fun with it. So that's everything in terms of open our point. That's everything in terms of what I wanted to cover today for our essential sort of storing of information, how we're using that information. I've seen a couple of questions come in as well, so we'll go through those. I think I've got 4, so in no particular order. So can you get an overview of notes on a company? Yes, you can. I can show you that. It's a nice, easy one. I think I can probably imagine why that's been asked. Let me go into here. So gone into a company record, you'll notice there is an activity. And on this example, there is a note from this contact, there's notes from this opportunity, etc. like that. If it doesn't appear like this for you, it's because there's a little setting up here on the right, and you can swap around which way those notes are posted. I prefer to have it newest entry on the top. And then there is also consolidated associated activity. So what that means is, if I turn that off, you'll see this is now only showing notes that someone has posted on the company level. With that enabled, you get an overview on not only what's been posted at the company level, but also all of the levels underneath in the hierarchy. So again, we've got contacts here and opportunities and such being posted. The next question I had is, Save to CRM available to download for free? Yes, it is a core piece of functionality we have on offer for our customers. I can actually show you where to get hold of it. So within this little question mark, there's a documentation portal, really useful. I use it all the time and I work here. So research for Save to CRM. You'll get a load of guides on installing it with Gmail, desktop Outlook, and Outlook in the web and stuff like that. But yes, it is free. It's not something we charge for. You're free to go and grab this article and download it. It will take a few minutes. Any issues at all, go and throw a message to support and they'll be happy to help. You can chat with us live in here as well if you needed to ask any questions there. A couple more questions then. Let's see what we've got next. Can you send from a generic email address from inside Prospect, e.g. sales@prospectsoft.com? Yes, you can. There is functionality to do certain things like this. It's something we can set up. You can CC emails to send from that customer as well, or from a generic email address as well. That's not something I can show you really quickly because it needs a little bit of setup, but I've noted your name down, so I will come back to you personally if that's okay. And for anyone else who'd like to see that, obviously find me an email and I can send over some instructions on how we set that up and use kind of a generic email as such for saving emails in and using that. And then we have another question here. Currently track emails sent out to customers via the CRM inbox and out of prospect. It seems like we can't track the responses back to our sales team in the CRM. Is that something that will happen possible in the future releases? So yes, that's partially possible now. So we can have emails being automatically saved back. So when you carbon copy in a copy of your email address, like a sales email address, and they respond to that, it can come in and save itself to the CRM. Also, if your domain is configured correctly, if I send an email and the customer replies, it can come straight back to me. So again, I'll follow up on that with you separately and just make sure that I'm understanding that question correctly. And then we have, is it possible to embed a PDF in an email from the CRM for advertising? Yes, it is. Yes. So from anywhere in the CRM, if I just grab our contact again. So if you were to have a Word document in here, let's see if we can make one. I'm sure there's a template in here I can show you quickly. I add a new document. I need to quickly go on to an opportunity. This won't take more than 2 seconds. Okay, so there we go. I've got an intro letter document. It's just a very generic document we've got there. So I've made this, and you can open it in Word and obviously go and change it and such as well. What we're going to do is close out of this, go back to the opportunity, open an email, and when you go to attach the attachment, if I use our existing documents, got our intro letter there, you can attach that as a PDF. Close out of that. So there it is, intro letter PDF, and obviously then you can use your templates and introduction email templates and stuff like that, type a subject and send that out to the customer. A copy of this email then is hopefully going to be saved back into documents if you have this save document toggle enabled. So then you've got a reference of sending them this correspondence. I hope that makes sense. Again, feel free to drop me a message if you've got any there. So I think that's it for now. I'm not seeing any other questions come through. So if there is any questions, I've said there's a couple of people that I can follow up on personally. That's no problem at all. If there is anything else, I will put together a little bit of an email for everyone after this and we'll catch up. The next webinar then we've got due in a week is configure your document templates. So that's something I've mentioned a couple of times throughout corresponding kind of with your customers. This is going to be for using your email templates and document templates for putting together kind of not mail merges, but Word merging. So you don't have to kind of type out the same email address and same email and documents every time. Just really focus on those templates to give you a nice brand consistent example of what we can send out to customers. And then the week after that, we have MailChimp for driving more sales, which I mentioned earlier as well, which would be really good. Thank you all for coming along. I think that's it for today. Again, if there's anything else I can help with, feel free to give me a call. Thank you all very much for coming.